Hello, Neal. How you doing today?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm excellent, buddy. It's episode 13. I'm really excited about our guest. Want to say go Cards to give a little tease?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
Recorded live from Louisville, it's Talk About Town, the Louisville podcast. And now, your hosts, Neal Cox and Tad Hennessy.
Hey, Ron White here. I'm nowhere to be found. You're listening to Talk About Town, like I give a...
All right. So we're here back in the studio. We've got with us today, Simmie Butler of 502 Originals.
What's up, guys?
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So full disclosure, Simmie and I connected again recently. But we were, I don't know if we were friends exactly, but we knew each other back in the day.
Yeah.
You went to Ballard for a little bit.
Yep.
I went to Ballard. You didn't graduate from there though, did you?
No, I graduated from Seneca. It was just their freshman year and like a portion of my sophomore year, I believe.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm going to date you. What year did you graduate from Seneca?
95.
Okay. All right. 94 here. So we're all went to Trinity, but we're all in the same year or two from each other, I think, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Almost at that half century mark.
yeah. Oh, I know. We have a lot of the same sensibilities too, which I like, those 90s sense of music and movies and that kind of stuff. I don't know many people that are into similar music as me, but Chad definitely is.
We've even thought about creating a podcast over it, so we'll see.
Sweet.
Yeah. So Simmie came on my radar via social media, I don't know, a few years ago, and he was doing something really cool. And, I wanted to support it. And then we hook up again. It's a funny story how we hooked up this time. I was listing a house across from his parents' house, and he saw my sign in there, and that house does need a new roof. Well, Simmie owns a roofing company.
Yeah.
So I get a call from him. He says, "Hey, it's Simmie." I'm, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" He says, "That place is going to need a new roof. You know that, right?" And I said, "Well, we're hoping to not have to do that. We're hoping the buyers address that." And that's what happened. But I was selling a rental property, closes Friday. It needed a new roof. So that call got him a roof job.
Right. Yeah. Small world, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is. It's really funny. And then he comes in to the office to pick up the check from after completing the job. He sat down. We probably chatted for an hour or so.
Yeah.
And just, we're on the same wavelength. And I'm like, we got to get him on this show.
Simmie, how long you been in the roofing business?
Oh, it's like 12, 15 years. It's been a minute.
So you were in 2012 then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm an insurance agent, and I tell you what, I was telling Neal I was really excited to have you on, just the fact that you're a roofing company. Can't have too many roofing contacts, man.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
12 was crazy, though, for sure.
Yeah. And as exciting as roofing is, it's not the reason I asked Simmie to come in here. Do you want to talk dimensional shingles real quick or anything?
Sure. The granules. No, I'm good.
Cool. Well, it's his other side hustle, 502 Originals, which they produce a bunch of apparel with really cool UofL themed stuff. And it's not just the cardinal head on a black shirt.
Right.
It's more clever than that. And you had a retail space for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But now you're selling them off your website. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then we're going to maybe get a retail space again. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that would be super cool because it's the kind of thing where people will just stumble in and buy it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm really curious. Tell us a little bit about how that got all started, if you don't care.
Yeah. So it was 2014, and I had told Neal this story last week when we had met up. But I had made a shirt for when U of L won the championship in 13. It was just a black T-shirt. And I don't like wearing crew neck T-shirts, just like the regular collar. I like wearing V-necks. Show my taco meat.
It looks fantastic.
Thank you. I comb it out and everything. But it just said, it had white print on there, and it just said Peyton and Russ, and it was like the first like 6 or 7 main players. And I wore it down the 4th Street one night on a Friday night, and literally had like a dozen people or more taking pictures with me with the shirt on. So, and every time I would wear it, it could be the grocery store or whatever, people were like stopping me like, dude, where'd you get that shirt from? And just as simple as it was, I'm like, dude, I might be onto something.
Was it a one-off? Just I made one shirt and
Yeah, I just made one shirt.
Yep.
I think I made 2 for my daughters. I got twin daughters.
Yep.
But yeah, just for me, with no intention of like
Turning it into a business.
Yeah. So that was, shortly after 13, I guess a year goes by, and I'm like, just some things were going on in my life with regards to like income, where it was like, I got to do something. I want to do something different. I got to do something different. And, when you get those kind of ideas where it's like, I don't know about this, I don't know about that. But then you might have that one idea where it's like, you're just adamant on doing it. That's the way it was for the 502 Originals. So it took me some time to come up with the name, some of the ideas or what have you. But I think we rolled out the website the first of the year, 2015. And here we are, 2022.
and it's been good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Was it the whiteout shirt you were telling me about?
So yeah, so that was January. I think U of L played North Carolina at home. This is basketball in February sometime, and I did like the Run DMC type of logo, and it was Run UNC back to UNC, and I sold like 100 shirts, and I'm like on the top of the world. I'm like, oh yeah, we made it. We didn't make it yet, but U of L ended up winning that game. I think it went to overtime.
I remember that game.
Yeah. So, and then fast forward from that whiteout shirt, we did Flea Off Market for the first time. I guess it was like May or June. And we had maybe like a half dozen different designs, and people were just eating it up. I'm like, dude, we're right where we need to be. So, and then from there, it went to our first U of L shirt. And that's a whole story in itself. But like the very first U of L licensed design that we did, it blew up. And that shirt still sells like hotcakes.
Which one is that?
So it was 2015. It was a blackout shirt for football. And U of L was playing Clemson at home. It was a Thursday night game. But it's just a black shirt. Instead of the full cardinal bird head, it just has the beak and then the eye, the beak and then the eye, and then it's in gray, like a dark charcoal gray on black. And the eye, the pupil is red. So it's just that little contrast of color, just a little pop of color. And I don't even know what gave me the idea, but I came up with the idea. And then we submitted the deal on a Friday. The game was on Thursday, so I'm like, we're going to have to pull this off pretty quickly. And I went to a football game. So U of L played a home game on Saturday before the Thursday game. And my phone kept going, ding, 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 ding. And my buddy who I went to the game with, he's like, dude, your girl's blowing you up. And I'm like, I know, right? So I pulled my phone out, and I'm getting all these emails. It was orders coming through for that shirt. And he was like, have you printed these shirts yet?
Nope.
I'm like, no. So he's like, how many do you have sold already? And was like, I don't know. I sold like 70 in like 30 minutes or something. So after it was all said and done in 3 days, we sold 1,000 shirts. So
I mean, that's real money there. That's
And at that time, was it just online only?
yeah. There was no storefront. Yeah. And so, and this is the way God works, the universe works, is that so you just get different connects through people, and not me even asking for any help or anything, just kind of winging it, really honestly.
Yep.
But somebody was like, man, my dude's got this restaurant down on Barstown Road. It was called America the Diner. Dustin Staggers is the owner. He had a couple other spots in Louisville at the time, I believe. But he's like, dude, you could set up pickup here at the restaurant. So I brought all the shirts there. And then you could see on their order if it was like a shipping or a pickup. But I don't even know if we even offered shipping because the game was on a Thursday.
Right.
in town.
So I think we probably just did pickup. Like you had to pick the shirt up. But there was a line outside Barstown Road for people picking up. And I had my mom, my girlfriend at the time, and a buddy of mine. And it was bananas. And we had some people that were actually wanting to buy shirts there. So we had like a little bit allocated to people just coming in off the street and buying them. But they were just like going, it was nuts. It was nuts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're a big U of L fan. Neal and I are as well. So it's got to be a point of, just a lot of fun too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I grew up with my dad being a diehard U of L fan. So that's how I came across. And I tell people this story and they're like, you really didn't do that, but I really did this.
Yeah.
So I told you I had twin girls. So, when they got old enough to where they could, talk a little bit, if we're out in public at a Macy's or somewhere like that, usually it's one side UK, one side U of L. And I would just tell them straight up, I'm like, don't touch anything blue. And I wouldn't laugh or anything. And they were like, okay.
Okay, Daddy.
So I don't know how old they were, maybe like 6 or 7. They were out with their grandfather. And he's like, oh, look at this UK stuff. And they were like, just dead stone faced, like, our dad said we can't touch anything blue.
You did good.
I did good.
You're a good dad.
But yeah, man, U of L, it's weird now just because, like, I've met Daryl Griffith. Like, he became like a mentor of mine a couple of years ago. And then just meeting some of the players and Coach Walls, going into, like, the locker rooms and seeing, like you see the Yum Center, but like when you go behind in the tunnel where the locker rooms are and stuff, like they've got a whole nother basketball court in there.
What?
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard.
It's dope, dude.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
really dope.
Nice.
So, I'm almost kind of like living up my dream, like a little kid.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, at 44 years old.
Yeah, making a little cash on the side too.
Yeah.
I mean that's why I thought you would be a good guest for this, because people doing something fun, it's local, and there's room for growth as well. It's like, this is perfect. It's people doing something cool in Louisville. And so that's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
So not to get too in the weeds, or maybe it's too boring for podcast reasons, but I mean, getting the deal with Louisville, I guess they've licensed it off, or they approve on this.
Yeah. So that very first deal, the very first design that we were submitted, that was through a guy who had his license, and then whatever deal he worked out with U of L, I was able to piggyback off of his license. So I did that for the first, 4 or 5 years, I believe. And then they reached out to me back in, I think it was 2019. And then I got my license then, held it for a year, COVID hit. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. COVID, well, knock on wood, we haven't had a good past 2 or 3 years, football, basketball wise. I mean, women's sports are doing really well.
Yeah, of course.
But those big money makers, football and basketball, men's sports, they've been lackluster, to put it mildly.
Well,
But I feel like it's coming around the corner.
I hope so. It's been tough to be a fan the past several years.
Yeah.
It really has. So you said the other day when we were chatting, you said you're super excited about both. So what's got you excited?
For basketball, the Kenny Payne hire, I think, is major. I follow a few of the U of L fan pages on Facebook, and some of the comments you read, it's just like, these people just don't understand basketball at all, or maybe even life in general. I don't know how they make it through the day, honestly. But like, yeah, he's a brand new head coach, but like, every coach had got their start somewhere. They just didn't roll out of bed
Right.
with,
Nick Saban didn't start in his head coach position.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, and you have to understand from a sports perspective, especially for college. I mean, it's all predicated upon recruits, how you recruit. You can have the best facilities in the world and the best mascot or the best fans, but if you can't recruit, then you can't get that that 5-star player, or maybe that, player that's, hiding, that 3-star player, like a Russ Smith. I think he was a 3-star. But from that standpoint, Kenny Payne, I think he's going to, knock it out of the park.
You got to love his staff. I'm very excited about his staff.
That's a dream team in itself.
Yes. Well, I've wondered how UK fans feel about Kenny Payne being here now. They had a coach back in the day, and he worked for UofL for a little while too. Rick Pitino, you ever heard of him?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and they did not like that. And I know he was not the head, but he was with Cal for a while. Mm-hmm. And so, and I'm not really in tune with that. I don't know if people are pissed or they're like, whatever, or they think we just have perpetual little brother syndrome.
I tell you what, I read something today. A lot of people, and I was pretty critical of Patino his first 10 years or so. I mean, we had success, but it was getting a little lull. Mm-hmm. Then Calipari joins UK. It kicked Rick in the rear, right, wrong, or indifferent what it ended up. But you could say what you will, but 2012 to 2015 was the best run of Louisville I've ever fandom. It was phenomenal. And a lot of that is because Cal got there and Rick had to change his ways. Well, it might be working on the reverse side right now. Calipari and Kentucky have been a little bit down the last 2 or 3 years. This class, it's going to be scary what I think Cal's getting ready to line up for his probably final run at UK.
Yeah.
You think this is his last year?
Oh, and maybe not his last year, but he's got
just his final stretch.
Yeah,
maybe. But yeah, I think the fans are, from what I've seen in the fan pages, they're a little salty with the Kenny Payne hire because they know. But it's a good thing for us, UofL fans. It's like, okay, they're like, all right, we really saw something in him. He was really valuable to our team, more than what we even know.
Yeah.
So I think that says everything. Like if there's a UK fan saying you got a good coach, we've got a good coach.
Well, and back what he said too. You had Julius Randle crying literally when he left the Knicks. Bam Adebayo comes and practices in the U of L's facilities. These players are loyal to their school, of course they are, but they're very loyal to their coach.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, when you see all these UK stars and frankly they're NBA stars, they're just singing his praises. That's what gets me excited.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, SVT, I know him. He was a guest on the previous version of the show a couple times, and to hear him talk about Rick, he sat down with Malachi had connected with him. He sat down and before we really knew each other, and we're like, all right, is there anything off limits? He says, absolutely not. And I said something about Rick, and he's like, dude, I love Rick. He's he is A+ in my eyes, mm-hmm. and not a bad word to say about Rick at all.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean Rick did a lot of good things here. I mean, you can say what you want about him, but I mean, the numbers don't lie. So it's just, I think obviously it's unfortunate the way things transpired, and we're still under that dark cloud
for a little while.
Do we know? There's no
possibly this fall.
This fall, I love what we're hearing,
but not for sure, right?
Not for sure, but I'll tell you what, it needs to come soon. Even if it's going to hurt, we need it to come because it's. You can say what you will about Chris Mack, and I'm not going to defend him. He never got to play with a full deck of cards, and I think we're seeing right now that even Kenny might be a little bit handcuffed a little bit.
Well, remember it was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, we had those 2 grad transfers that were really good.
Damien and Trey.
Yeah.
I became really good friends with both of them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the shittiest way.
Dude.
I know.
I mean, yeah.
Well, in hindsight, that Damian Lee, Trey Lewis team, there was about 4 or 5 NBA players in that team.
Was Mitchell on
Mitchell?
That team? Yep.
You got obviously Lee. He just signed a nice deal and he won an NBA championship.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had. Oh shoot! I'm drawing a blank on who backed up Trez the year before, but he at least got a sniff in it. Was it Terrence Jennings? Not Terrence Jennings.
I blame myself.
I can't remember. I know.
Sorry about that.
I mean, that was good squad. Team. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Man. I just think about what just popped in my head was the 2013 team win the championship, and then we could have won back to back.
Absolutely.
We should have won back to back, but that UK.
It's had her number.
Well, the previous year,
14.
14. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because the previous year we faced off in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And my wife went with another couple, drove with another couple down to New Orleans,
Nice.
met up with another few people, stayed in this hotel that looks straight out of a murder scene. You know, there
Bates
wasn't
Motelish.
yeah, there wasn't much left. It was slim pickings, but the price was crazy high because it was
yeah,
in
Final
such
Four.
demand.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like, yeah, I might take a shower, but I might feel dirtier afterwards. It was gross.
Oh, I've said before that 2014 Sweet 16 loss to UK is still it's probably the hardest loss. We were upset. Well, we don't have to go over it all. But
Yeah,
we
yeah.
Hey, so a quick question. I mean, looking at your Twitter account and some websites, this NIL deal is pretty exciting. How's the 502 Originals going to take advantage of it, or even be a part of it? Can I ask?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword right now, to be honest with you. And I mean, if just following, if you watch Sports Center, ESPN, those shows or whatever, it's a wild, wild west right now because people are just trying to figure out, how this is going to work out. And I think it's good. I think it's good just from the standpoint that the players will be compensated, which they can, share in the revenue or what have you. I think, when people are saying something about like, well, they're getting a scholarship already and they get some free meals or whatever. It's like, no, it should be upped. It's time. Having said that, I think there's that fine line between these players knowing that they can get paid now versus what they actually deserve and can get. Perfect example. You get a guy that comes in, whether he's a freshman, sophomore, junior, whatever, and you compare them to like a Michael Jordan or somebody that's professional or whatever. It's like, okay, yeah, I could put this guy behind my company as a spokesperson, what have you, but like, what is going to be the actual true, ROI, return on investment on this deal? And you don't really know. I mean, you don't really know for a professional athlete for that matter, but for that professional athlete, you would hope that he's going to stay with that team, or at least he's going to be a pro for a while. With these guys in college, it's like, well, I don't know if he's going to leave next year. I don't know what's really going to happen. I don't know. It's just a whole lot of uncharted waters.
But to me, that kind of dovetails with like someone like Anthony Davis, for instance. He's not at UOK to get an education, and
Right.
everyone knows that.
Sure.
And there's no illusion that there is. So to say, well, you got a scholarship and whatever, it's like, no, he directed a ton of attention to UOK.
Absolutely.
And was a marketable force right then. And this is pre-NIL, so he can get nothing from it. What happens if he gets hurt at the end of his year at UOK? And then, boom.
Good point.
I mean, it's just they're being exploited by these schools generally.
Well, it's kind of like when he was talking about the Wild Wild, and I've read, there was an article today, I think it was on CBS Sportsline. I mean, be prepared, especially as we enter in, that you may get some elite athletes, football or basketball, that in theory could play at 4 different schools in 4 years with the transfer portal and just broker themselves as, who's going to pay me more next year. So it's going to be pretty wild.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's, to me, that's not the worst thing ever. Because I mean, I'm kind of thinking of the players. Let them maximize, because if you're a pro athlete, especially football, to some degree basketball, you're a play away from your career ending.
True.
And if you need to be able to maximize your value while you're there, I think. So,
Absolutely. I just think that what needs to happen and what's hopefully going to happen is because they're going to put caps on things.
Yeah.
A cap on, just like for college basketball. I mean, you could leave after your freshman year, so you have to play 1 year. With football, I think it's 2 years, and with baseball, you don't even have to go to college.
yep.
Which I don't even really understand. I never really understood that. But I mean,
Which side? Because I think it's kind of silly that you have to play in college to go pro.
well, for baseball, college baseball, you don't.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how that came about, but that's a conversation for another day, I guess. But just from the standpoint of, you know, having these players, like you said, that is truly realistic what he just threw out there. It's like, okay, I'm going to get $1 million this year, my freshman year. Okay, I'll ball out, whatever, you know, get my player ranking up, so to speak. And then, okay, well, if I could get $3 million over here, but go to a different conference, different school, like there's going to have to be some kind of like that little, okay, maybe one school for, 2 years, or you're capped at $1 million. I don't know.
Right.
It's
What's interesting,
it's interesting
because if you look at the last just really 18 months, Coach K's retired. Roy Williams was the year before. I mean, everybody was shocked that Jay Wright. I mean, top 2-3 coach out there just calls it a game. He's only in his early mid 60s.
Right.
So a lot of these legendary coaches are. I don't think they're going to deal with it because you're having a brand new Calipari, right, wrong, or indifferent, and I'm not a huge fan, but he has a new team every single year.
Yep.
And that's hard.
It is. And to me, there's like what Rick used to do versus what Cal used to do, two completely different things. So it's like Cal needs to work on the chemistry and, pass the ball if you don't have the shot, because you've got 5 studs on the floor all the time.
right.
And then what Rick did, you get a guy like Siva, who by the time he is a senior is just phenomenal. He's developed by Rick,
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
The hard part is, and Simmie, you probably feel the same way, at least I do, is, we can't go back to, when I grew up. But honestly, that 2013 team to me is so special because you had 2 players that we may never see their likes of them again, because they were 4-year players. Now, Russ was only a junior that year. You got to bond with them. I don't know if the fans in these communities of colleges are going to be able to bond with these players anymore.
Right.
Over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And I know Peyton specifically, like even Rick, like softened up a little bit. He's like, man, I love these guys, and he gets a tattoo and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a special team.
Yeah. Russ definitely softened him up a lot.
Yep. Man, I miss that team.
I do too. We'll see. There's still good times ahead. And how about football? I mean, he's killing it right now, buddy.
I know.
Satterfield is rolling.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, it can't get any worse.
Yeah.
It's got to be better. I think with the football team, the players are there. I think we have had the players. Now they might not be 5 stars or what have you, but they're still good players. I think it just comes down to the play calling, honestly. And that's not even I'm not knocking anybody. It just is what it is. I watched some games last year where it was just like, what are we doing?
I only went to one game last year, and it was the UK game. And it was just maddening. It's like, let's see. Let me guess. The quarterback's going to run up the middle.
Every time.
Over and over.
Kentucky, sadly to say, has they're a couple years ahead of us in talent. That's going to take some time to get caught up with. But I do want to see us compete.
Yes.
Yeah, at least that.
Well, and it's wild, too, because I can't use my joke anymore. When someone mentions Kentucky football, you say, I didn't realize they played Kentucky or played football at Kentucky.
Right.
Because they were a nothing football school for
a long time.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it? And what was the other saying with the UK football? It's like, we're good in baseball. Like they never talk about baseball until they have a a bad.
It'll be interesting. I think the pressure got to Satterfield. He's turned it on recruiting, which it timed out perfectly with Adidas money. And let's see where this all goes. It's a whole new game. But I mean, Tyree wanted to fire him. It was Bendapudi that saved his job.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, yeah, it was.
I kind of lost interest in UofL football over.
A lot of people did.
Yeah. I mean, when Lamar was it his sophomore year, was that breakout year?
Mm-hmm.
That was must see TV.
Oh, man.
It's like, what time is the UofL game this weekend? Mm-hmm. And now it's more like, I'm flipping through. Oh yeah, UofL's playing.
Right.
I want it to get back to that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big class coming in, so I mean. are you even able to? Can you market individual players that are currently on basketball or football rosters by any chance?
Yeah. So we had, and this was last year, we had signed Jalen Withers. And I know a lot of people have with the hire with Kenny Payne have left the team, but Jalen's still there.
Yes.
I don't know if we'll do anything this year or not, but we've got our eyes on some guys. So
That's exciting.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Nice.
Yeah.
Talking to Cunningham.
I mean, yeah, he's like a little Lamar 2.0.
A little bit. And I saw a headline or something like that saying it, and it's like, man, nobody is Lamar.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
He's solid.
yeah,
Yeah, he is. He is.
But like in that, and not to bring up an individual, but if there was an individual football, basketball, baseball, women's anything, golfer for that matter, I guess within NIL you would cut them a deal of sorts, and then you would print up some apparel, t-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever it would be. Would they get proceeds off of that, or would it be like a percentage of sales?
Yeah. So that's what we did with Jalen last year. It was, we both market, as best as we can, spread the word, and then it was a percentage from the profits. Again, we just got our feet wet, and we learned a whole lot. I'll just put it like that. But yeah, if I was gonna go after anybody, I think the whole thing with the NIL deal is it could be beneficial to all parties, player and then company. But I think the ideal player is like one of those like 5 stars, like, oh, we've got this dude, like, and then even if they're there for a year, just to jump on it. Kind of the middle of the run players or whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
I know what you mean.
Like if this was in place when Lamar was in town.
Dude.
Well, you got to be able to sell it. I mean, I just want not even to name a player, but like he said, if you've got looking at a basketball team and you got to deal with the 8th man, not even the 6th man, the 8th man. I mean,
right.
You got to be able to sell your t-shirts.
You got a ball.
Yep.
Bottom line, you've got a ball. So, I mean, we could produce the shirts, we could produce the design. It's going to be dope, but like, we still need you to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So we can all make money.
And that's where it gets dangerous from an ROI perspective. I get it, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, marketing is that piece, because I've got a side hustle that kind of a similar thing where like I had an idea and I'm like, man, this could be something, where it's gift bags that I sell to realtors. And 2020, we were selling them like crazy because it was so easy to get them in front of people that were interested through Facebook ads. Then Apple, early 21, changes their whole model where you can opt out of sharing your data, and it just plummeted. It was nuts. We're working our way back right now, but that marketing piece is essential.
Yeah.
Can I ask you? I mean, I hope not asking too many forward questions, but like even UofL, do they know that, hey, we've got this partner in 502 Originals, 5-star point guard. If you come here, here's an avenue that we could maybe tee you up with, kind of thing.
Well, I'm hoping to get to that. So when they reached out to me back in 2019 to do the license, and that's around the time I was talking to Griff, and they didn't really say what they wanted to meet for. And
Do you think you were in trouble?
yeah, I did. Yeah, let's just go ahead and throw it out there. Yeah, I thought I was in trouble. I was like, dude, I said, if you come with me, I was like, they're not going to do, it's not going to be as bad with you there. He's like, yeah, how come? And they rolled out the red carpet, which was great. But yeah, that would be ideal for them to say, hey, we've got this, local company that's killing it. Diehard UofL fan, huge fan base. Like, we can link you up with this, with them. And we know that you could trust them, and it'd be a win-win situation for everybody. So that's something I hope I can, work on.
Yeah. Well, we're after we get done here, we're gonna film a quick little video to run on social media, just to from my main business page, just to promote. Send me some more.
Yeah. That's what we like to do. Hey, Even all of us, you're 44, I'm 45. I wish I could tell you or tell my friends or my kids, I should say that, oh yeah, I got to see Griff play at UofL. Man, I was 4 years old. Actually 3.5 in 1980 when he played his last game. I do have vague memories of watching him on TNT with the Jazz at the tail end.
Right.
I do have some memories of that when Malone and Stockton were just getting going and they started to get marketable, and Daryl was still playing. But what an ambassador for the city, the school.
Huge.
He seems like he could still go out there and play right now. Actually,
yeah.
He looks great.
Yeah, he's in great shape, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. I grew up in a mixed household, a U of L, UK mix. And so 86, I was 10 years old, a very impressionable age. So that's what made me a U of L fan.
There you go.
So
Never nervous.
Yeah, Purvis was the man.
Dude, big time.
Well, sweet. Well, so how can people find you?
Yeah, so the website is 502originals.com. And basically for the Twitter and Instagram page, it's just at 502 Originals. So nothing hard to find or whatever. And then right now, usually I just go kind of quiet for the summertime just to relax, get creative, and then come out full throttle for football season.
I sent you that link with some retail spaces.
I pulled them up.
Did you look at it?
Yeah,
Cool.
appreciate it.
So maybe something in the works sooner than later. That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you. Go Cards.
Go Cards, indeed.
Absolutely.
Knock on wood. It'll be football season before you know it.
Very soon.
I know. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks
And
for having me, guys. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thanks, Simmie.
we're looking for growth.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. You can reach us at Neal at talkabouttownky.com. Neal is a realtor with Judah Real Estate Group. Chad is a partner at Insuramax. You can reach him at chadh@insuramax.com. Check us out on the web at talkabouttownky.com. Go Cards!